A signal was heard around the world. It did not follow any known pattern. It did not come from any known location, and no one ever claimed responsibility for it. For years, this mysterious signal appeared without warning, cutting through radio frequencies and leaving experts confused. Some described it as repetitive. Others said it sounded deliberate. But everyone agreed on one thing: it should not have existed. Radio operators first noticed it while scanning frequencies that were supposed to be silent. At first, they thought it was interference, a technical glitch, a mistake. But the signal kept returning, always similar, always precise, and always impossible to trace. Governments listened. Researchers analyzed it. Independent operators tried to follow it. No one could locate its source. What made this signal even more unsettling was its consistency. It appeared across different regions, different countries, and different equipment. Yet it never revealed where it came from. Some people dismissed it as background noise. Others believed it was intentional. But as time passed, one question became impossible to ignore: who or what was sending it? The signal itself was simple but disturbing. It repeated sequences that did not match any known language or communication system. Numbers, tones, patterns that felt purposeful but meaningless. Listeners described an uncomfortable feeling while hearing it. Not fear, but confusion. It was as if the signal was meant for someone else. Experts immediately began testing known explanations. Was it a military transmission? A classified experiment? A forgotten Cold War broadcast? Nothing matched. No government records existed. No archived operation explained it. And no country ever admitted to creating it. Even more disturbing, the signal continued long after similar broadcasts had ended. Decades passed. Technology advanced. Equipment improved. But the signal remained unchanged. Some theorized it was automated, a machine endlessly repeating its function long after its creators were gone. Others believed it was a test, a message, or a warning. But without a source, every explanation fell apart. And the more people searched, the stranger the mystery became. Because the signal did not behave like random noise. It behaved like intention. At first, specialists assumed the signal was nothing more than an anomaly produced by outdated equipment or rare atmospheric conditions. Radio interference had always existed, and most unexplained transmissions eventually received simple explanations once enough data was collected. But this signal resisted every standard explanation. When analysts compared recordings captured in different countries, they noticed something deeply unsettling. Despite being recorded on different equipment, under different conditions, and at different times, the signal sounded almost identical in every instance. There was no degradation, no distortion caused by distance, and no variation that could be attributed to geography or interference. That alone was highly unusual. Signals normally weaken, stretch, or break apart as they travel. This one did not. It arrived with the same clarity every time, as if distance had no effect on it at all. As more data was gathered, another anomaly appeared. When receivers were moved or adjusted, the signal subtly shifted its frequency, remaining just within range, as if it were being actively maintained rather than passively received. This behavior suggested something far more complex than random noise or an automated broadcast. Some researchers began to suspect that the signal was not transmitting information in the traditional sense. Instead, it behaved more like a calibration tone, something designed to maintain alignment rather than deliver a message. Others proposed a far stranger idea. What if the signal was never intended to be decoded? What if its purpose was simply to exist, to announce presence rather than meaning? As archived data was revisited, investigators discovered brief, almost forgotten references to similar transmissions decades earlier. At the time, they had been dismissed due to their short duration and weak strength. Now, viewed together, they appeared less like isolated incidents and more like early traces of the same phenomenon. The implication was disturbing. The signal had not suddenly appeared. It had slowly been passing through human detection for years, unnoticed, unrecognized, and unexplained. As the investigation expanded, attention quietly shifted away from the signal itself and toward the circumstances surrounding its appearance. Patterns began to emerge not in what the signal contained, but in what happened whenever it was detected. Satellite operators reported brief moments of disruption that coincided with the signal's strongest transmissions. Communication systems experienced unexplained delays. Sensors produced readings that could not be replicated or verified after the fact. Individually, these incidents were insignificant. Together, they suggested correlation. What unsettled researchers most was the absence of escalation. The signal never intensified, never changed its behavior, and never responded to attempts at interaction. Repeated efforts to interfere with the frequency produced no reaction whatsoever. It did not adapt. It did not resist. It simply continued, unaffected. This led some analysts to abandon the idea of communication entirely. Communication implies intent to interact, to exchange, or to influence. The signal demonstrated none of those qualities. Instead, it behaved more like a side effect, a residual output from a process operating at a scale far beyond human systems. Some theorized that the signal was analogous to background radiation, not created for observation, but detectable as a consequence of something else happening elsewhere. If that were true, then the signal itself was not the phenomenon. It was merely evidence. And when the signal abruptly stopped, that interpretation became even more troubling. There was no gradual weakening, no decay, no technical failure that could be identified. One moment it was present, consistent as it had always been. The next, it was gone. For those studying the phenomenon, the silence was worse than the signal itself. Because silence suggested completion, a process that had finished, moved on, or no longer required observation. And whatever caused it had left no indication that it would ever return. Over time, reports of the signal multiplied. Independent radio operators across different continents recorded nearly identical transmissions. The timing was inconsistent, but the structure was always the same. Some operators tried to triangulate its origin. The results made no sense. Each attempt pointed to a different location. Sometimes the signal appeared to come from the ocean. Other times, from remote land with no infrastructure. In some cases, the signal seemed to come from nowhere at all. Even more unsettling were the moments when the signal suddenly stopped. Weeks would pass in silence. Months. Then, without explanation, it would return. Exactly as before. People began asking uncomfortable questions. If this was a machine, how was it still operating? If it was human-made, why had no one claimed it? And if it was neither, what else could it be? Some listeners noticed patterns they couldn't explain. Repeating intervals. Sequences that almost seemed deliberate. But every attempt to decode meaning ended in failure. The signal revealed nothing, only its existence. As years passed, theories grew darker. Some believed the signal was never meant to be understood, that it was simply a byproduct of something larger. Others believed it was a relic, a forgotten system continuing its task long after its purpose was lost. And some believed it was something else entirely, a test, a marker, or a message not meant for us. Despite decades of monitoring, analysis, and speculation, no definitive explanation has ever been found. The signal never identified itself, never changed its behavior, and never revealed its origin. It simply existed. And then, just as mysteriously as it appeared, it stopped. No announcement, no explanation, no conclusion. To this day, no one knows who created the signal, why it existed, or what it was meant to achieve. And until answers emerge, the truth behind the mysterious signal that came from nowhere remains still unresolved.